Hello, Kelly. I saw your video. Very well done. You were very explicit and direct on your points, and just to comment on a few of your things. First thing was you talked about the most violations that you had seen in the state of Tennessee was for sexual relationships or dual relationships with a sexual nature. And I, on my state also that I did, it was the same. Um, and you had talked about how that was um, pretty unprofessional, and I would agree with that. My state that I did was New Jersey, and even though I'm from California, I couldn't find anything in California. Um, there's just not much information, and as you had commented before, there's not a whole lot of information in Tennessee either. So New Jersey was where I found my information, and I found a case on dual relationship with the sexual nature, and but then you went on to state the case that you were learning about was Jim Stanton or James Stanton, something other than that, where he was a social counselor, social worker that didn't have the right documentation and therefore didn't provide um, adequate service to his client. And then you talked about his punishment, um, which was, I don't know, pretty harsh for what I thought was just not keeping uh, correct records, which is important. But he said he got a year, and then he had to pay a fine, and he had to do he had to have supervision and that type of thing, which, in the end is what's going to happen when you're not following the code of ethics, and you're not basically, doing A1A, which is put your client first and work for his or her welfare. And then your question was also interesting. What if, as a counselor, you're trying to give all the best service possible and following those code of ethics, but the client says, no, you didn't reach that threshold. Well, I guess my comment to that would be, well, there's ethical and then there's legal as far as competence goes, and there's no real answer, but ethically, as counselors, we want to try and rise and be the best that we can, because there is that continuum where ethically you want to be the best you can possibly be as a counselor, but legally it's a minimum standard. So you just have to have the standards of the code of ethics, and following those. Overall, I enjoyed it, and like I said, my case was basically a marriage counselor who had a marriage couple that was about to divorce, and he ended up having a sexual relationship with the wife, and then the husband reported him. So maybe that might be somewhat of an answer to your question. The client is just going to report the counselor or the social worker to the right agency, and then an investigation would start there. But anyways, yeah, he the husband sent in the complaint. He was investigated. His license was taken away, and then he ended up basically moving to another state and quitting counseling altogether. So these things do have consequences for sure. Thank you for your video. It was very informative, and I learned a lot. Thank you.